So basically, we have three categories of relays in motor control. What are we? We've talked about this a couple times, guys. We have a control relay. Then we have what we call a contactor. Then we have, technically it's called a magnetic motor starter. Most people just call, because we have a manual motor starter, which we'll do a lab on. But a motor starter is some type of control device that has overload. A control relay, these are relays, contacts never leave the control circuit. They're never in the power circuit. They're not designed to run load. They run high, right? They run a solenoid, but they're not going to run load. Very seldom will you find an up to a minute control circuit. Most of our motors are power circuits. So relays, these are relays, contacts never leave the control circuit. Contactors, active control circuit. This is for the auxiliary contact. Most of your contacts will have an auxiliary contact on them. I think I showed you our motor starter, right? Got four main contacts. It's got a lot of good contacts there on the side. Another contact, contacts that are inside the control. And we have other starters. The contact and motor. And motor starter is over there. And contactor run a motor. Sure. Basically, it's a single motor. The overload might be I'll say load is internal. Of course, most of them have guys. Actually, what we call high guys script. And that will keep when they put all over it. An automatic reset. You have to be careful with okay. So this is an out switch. Out switches are basically delegated now to disconnect. They're very cheap. It's a lot better. So on ours, we have a relay disconnect. So we have a stop button, and then we have a relay. This is the way our disconnect works. So we have a stop button with a D10 in it, so it stays in. And then we're coming over here, and then we have a relay. And it's going to be a contactor. Now, what's the problem with this? And then over here, we have our power circuit. And if we call it, so let's just call it C, then these will be C. And then down here, we have our fuses. They're fuses, Richard, not overloads. And all these are C. So this is what, and then this comes out to L1, L2, L3 on your outside there. What could be a problem with this thing? By the way, never trust disconnect like this. Always check the load. This is a pretty reliable thing. The problem we have is that contact sometimes on relay one phase on it, but always, even on an isolate, I think on isolate, certainly they're working. Isolates are nice because you see them, but relays, contacts get really good. And what they do now is they in the old days, you actually see the contacts. They don't show all now the contacts are still inside what we call arching. So they're all extra to contact. That will work control that. So a nice switch, used a lot for disconnects. They're very cheap. They're very reliable. You can actually see them break, right? You understand? You know if a nice switch is what?
open or closed. So you'll see these a lot used for disconnects. So this is an IP disconnect, and usually, guys, the new ones have they're spring loaded. The problem we have with these regular nuts, which is how fast you open and how fast you close. What we're going to do when we break a circuit, we want to break it real fast. Main circuit, we want to make it fast, right? Make it high current, high voltage circuit. So every time you break a circuit, you create this little arc in there. That arc creates what we call ozone. Ozone has very low resistance. It could be called. What we like to do is break it straight fast. Just the motion of the real fast break. Like we talked about spinning the engine, you pull apart, flat, the water apart. You're rushing into 22. So when we break stuff real fast, just the movement, stuff air into it, right? These are spring loaded, so if you get the handle down to a certain spot, it gets past the plateau and it goes up. Awesome. Close it does the same way. It's got a little angle in there. Once you get past this trough and go over the other side, it pops up. Awesome. It's still and normally they're sealed in a box, and the box has got a key. And then we have lockouts over here that's available to lock it out, right? This is a manual contactor. Is that a manual contactor? These are manual contactors. We have one. This is a motor starter. The manual contactor. This is a motor starter. So these guys are going to have push buttons on them. So y'all should have one. The ones we have on our lab. In fact, the one we have double brake. We talk about what it does is double brake have over second. Talk about that one. What is that? Double brake over have. A lot of your switches, a lot of your push buttons, a lot of your relays are used for what's that? So when passing double brake contacts around, what y'all want you to do is notice that the contacts of the sails are actually spraying double brake. And notice they kind of close. They have a little spring. What happens, contact brake creates temperature that allows it to break. So double brake, what happens is this thing's spring loaded, it flows. So what happens if one of them tries to get welded together, then what would happen is it would tilt up and it would have a tendency to break contact. So what you do, you got two chances of breaking a circuit, right? Okay. So you'll see a lot of double contact, double brake circuits used. Three phase, this is what we have. Ours has these heater overloads. So I'm gonna rip this off. So what we have, and we'll look and see how these things work. But these are nothing but heating elements. They have very low resistance because we don't want them to drop a lot of voltage, but they create a heat. So they work a lot like, electric heaters, but they have a lot less resistance. And so these are wired in series. These are wired in series with the motor.
So all the current that goes to the motor goes to these heaters. So if the motor pulls more current, the heaters get hotter. If it don't pull as much, the heaters get cold, right? You understand that? And we'll see how these things work. These are still very popular. The only problem we have with these is these are not adjustable. So you have to change these according to your motor. And we'll look and see how we can calculate heaters. So there's a formula that we'll look at. And that's that handout that y'all got. So this is the manual way to start with. What I like about these is that on the side. So what's a wiring diagram?
Shows the connection of ours.
I'm trying to show you how the parts are oriented with each other, right? So, I'm trying to show you how it works. I'm trying to show you how the parts are working. Everything's in there. You just got to figure it out. It's a lot harder to trace out. Some of y'all that's still in the memory circuit. I like that one because they give you both the wiring diagram and this. These wiring diagrams, motor starters. And so this is the problem we have. When we start the motor, it has a loss. When we start a motor, this is current. When we start a motor, it has an inrush current, and then it does what? And then it levels out when the motor comes out to speed. And then this is if we don't change the load on the motor. So a motor is most efficient when you run it at its rated horsepower. If you run it the lowest rated horsepower, then it's gone. The power factor is gone. So what we have to do when we set these fuses have to be set to let the motor start, right? Everybody okay there? And how do we tell a good idea of the starting current? What do we look on there? On your motor plate, you look at something called code, right? And then ours is a code M, which is between 10 and 11 amps. But it's only a half horsepower motor. So a half horsepower motor means it's going to pull, 320 something watts at what? At 240 volts. So that's less than an amp, but it takes what? 10 to 11 amps to get that thing started. So overloads does not open the circuit while the motor is starting. So these are not overloads. These are actually we call these overcurrent protection devices, OCPD. And these have to be rated to let the motor do what? Start. But if the motor don't start, what's going to happen to the motor? It's going to burn up, right? You ever seen a motor that burns up? What happens? All those nice and shiny copper wires in there that's got that real coating on there, they all turn black. It started lining and everything goes wrong. I almost got in pictures. One of the slides, we have pictures of somebody that's overloaded the motor. So here's our loader mode. We use what we call heater overload. The heater coil is a sensing device used to monitor the heat generated by excessive current and the heat created through ambient temperature. So these guys basically work off heat. And so what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to have our motor starter on there. One of the things we're going to do with our motor, we're going to call it second phase hose. And the other two
pages are gonna try to make up the difference. What happens is this one day, the page starts to make up the difference. So you do the layout, you do it, anyway, you don't stop that so fast, right? You don't, overload.
I guess these are right overlays. So what these things do is they have a spring load in there, and they got a ratchet wheel on them, and that's what I was looking for. We actually got one over here, we can actually look at the parts like this time. And then what happens is inside the tube is solid. And this is just a tin lead. So the solder we use is tin lead solder. There is a, what we call lead-free solder. Normally we don't use that in electrical applications, but you use it in plumbing. So all you do in plumbing is copper pipe. Make sure you get what we call lead-free solder. Now lead is not, it's not dangerous to handle. It's dangerous to get in. So that means you can handle solder without any problem. Molecules are big enough that they don't need to poison. Those, I was on people, something to talk about, the molecules that it's just mercury. Now, the problem with mercury is molecules on mercury, all of them do well. Yeah, and so mercury is dangerous. Don't handle mercury. I think about my dad, Mom tried to pick it up and I got it with the whole thing. And I turned it over. So I said, electric salt, when you have solder in there, and what does solder do? Well, solder melts at a precise temperature. So at 63:37 ratio, this is called eutectic solder, which means most metals go through a plastic state before they turn into all the time. Solder is unique. 37 is called eutectic solder. There's no plastic state. So at 371 degrees, that low that it turns into anything below that it turns into. So this is what's in that tube. It's got this solder that you heat it up. And so what happens is don't let it spin when the solder is solid. If your belt and it turns spin. Problem is though, is that it might get up to 380 degrees before it gets up like that. All in electronics, we 63 and 37. So it's got a little plastic thing. A couple components to move while you're solving. And always, when you play with lead, you need to play with it. Anytime you handle lead, you need to make sure you wash your hands when you get through, right? Not hand sanitizer. Hand sanitizer just sanitizes the lead. It's still dangerous. So this is basically the way it works, guys. These heater overloads. But we have to put the right size resistor in there, right? Understand that. Depending on the amount of current, overloads are not rated in a voltage. Overloads are rated in current. So we have to put the wrong size. So you'll see overloads contacts that are designed to run your voltage. So you have to put a overload heater in there that is produced low 40 at a lower voltage, right? You have to put one that creates the same heat at a higher voltage. That's change that. Problem you have is the electrician or somebody got to change that. So they might have these overloads in there and they might have a high voltage. And they put it in a low voltage. Low voltage, they put it in a high voltage circuit. And they're not going to trip it up. Okay. So these guys have a reset on them. Used to they had multiple ones, but now what they do is they have one that resets all three of them. And so normally, you'll see sometimes when they draw your overloads, they'll put three of them out there. But now the tendency is just to put one because you reset them with the same reset, even though it breaks all three in any line. Are we okay? Yes, no? We have these magnetic, they use current transformers. So it kind of works like a clamp on ammeter. These are your electronic ones. And what's the problem with these? Guys, this built into our genes. Something broke, and we have valves broken off. I told you about the people who broke, right? Taking that out of the photo off station over there. I forgot to do the photo. Congress said that over on our Amco line, they said, that's like, that's what they started doing. Then we went over to the line one day. They looked like they were. So it's built into our genes, guys. So what happens is these guys will trip and they see this little knob on the front and what do they do? Turn it, and then their motor burns up. I've seen it. US Steel used to weigh these things, guys, and if they could make more money, so what they did at US Steel, they had a downturn. So they had, I think it was Mondays, and the line would go down, and they tried to get all the maintenance on the wall, the downturn. And I heard that more than one time. Can you get us to the downturn? And that burned stuff up because it was cheaper to start it up and replace it during the downturn than it was to just stop the line. We like to use double fuse. We already talked about that, right? Sometimes you'll have double fuse, sometimes you'll have single fuse. It all depends. Are we okay? Triple fuse. Control relays, everybody okay with that? Control relays and relays whose contacts are used within the control circuit and are not intended to run high powered loads. And that's why they're called control relays, because their contact stays in the control circuit. These are examples of control relays. We're using these little relays like this, right? That's what we have. Contactors, these have contacts in the power circuit. They might also have auxiliary contacts in the what? In the control circuit, right? Everybody okay there? And what's a magnetic motor circuit? Huh? Yeah, it's for the overload. So we have a 2-wire control. So basically 2-wire controls and 3-wire controls. So if we have a ceiling in there, you can call it 3-wire control. If you don't have a ceiling, you can call it 1-wire. I'm sorry, 2-wire. We never have 1-wire control. So 2-wire control, 2 wires lead from the control device to the contactor or starter. So 1, 2. So this would be a 2-wire circuit, right? Okay? And we're talking about wire numbers. We call this a 3-wire circuit because there's 3-wire circuits from L1 over to the control device. 1, 2, 3. And this is why this is sometimes called a 3-wire circuit. Are we okay? Everybody okay on step-down transformers? Everybody okay? So what advantage does low voltage have over high voltage? Let me say this. What advantage does low voltage have over high voltage? Safer, right? What advantage does high voltage have over low voltage? What's that? No way. I pay a power bill every month, right? You pay for power. So 1,000 watts at
1,000 watts at 240 volts, 1,000 watts at 120 volts, it costs you the same amount, right? So what advantage does high voltage have over low voltage? We talked about that several times. Less current to produce the power, right? You understand? What does less current mean? We need smaller conductors to get that power to the load. Smaller contact relays, right? So high voltage is cheaper to install. They got like a 3,000 horsepower motor out of USB. Who I think run that on 120 volts? They had wires run out here. They ran that thing 1,600 volts. So now they're running small wires out there to run that thing, right? So we get the wires that are so big we can't even handle them. Outbound power is trying to get what? I mean, where does the power come from? From the Genesis and from the Tennessee pad that we're talking about. That's where Vesper power. Well, how do they get that power down? They do it at 200 to 120 volts to 240 volts. They do it at what? Well, that's what we're talking about, guys. So I get 7,000, if I get 7,500 volts, I get 7,500 watts of power from 20 amp. So now instead of using wires as big as my house, I use wires that are about that big right there, right? You know, power. Instead of using copper, I use what? Aluminum. So the advantage of how high voltage we can produce the same power is that current. We think we can use smaller wires. So instead of now running the wires under my house, to compare it to how my air conditioning outside, I can run it to the wall. I can run my heater, my dryer in. My dryer in, if I dryer in at 120 volts, my clothes dryer, we could be able to run those conductors to the wall. So you can make it a 2x4 as well. A 2x4. You cannot run these electricians drill a hole through those things to run those cables. And cannot exceed a certain size on them. Because it would, because it would, three-quarter. Everything that I run through there has a physical law. Three-quarter inch. Right? So that's nice to know, right? So when you step down transformers, our control circuit is usually a low voltage because who's working in here? We work in here a lot. Our power circuit is usually going to be a high voltage, and that's where you're going to have to start wearing special. In fact, the standard control voltage now is around 24 volts. And I might be controlling 6,000 volts, right? AC. How do we know if the coil's AC or DC? Of course, most of the time on industrial relays, they encapsulate the coil inside plastic because that makes it so that you can things you don't need to wire. What they'll do is they'll come up here and they'll put the voltage that the coil is on. So normally, if it doesn't have that, you can tell the AC from the DC. So the AC is called laminated plate. Pressure is actually a contactor that controls the compressor. Look at the bottom of the laminated plate. Why don't we use laminated plate?
Use the larger piece to build up too much charge in it.
Well, the problem is, I've got everything, I got AC. So what do we need to have? What three things about it? What three things about it? Like say, yeah, that's the bottom. What do we need to do about it? What do I have here? That's what I have here. Screw out of it, right? Doesn't matter. What do I have here? Got wire, right? Yeah. So we didn't have a magnet? We need to have a conductor. There's that motion. Solid motion. I can't move the magnet. So this is the way your alternator works. The magnet's spinning. And then the outside, so we're not taking all that current off something. But a spin is to make it sit right. You know that? So anytime I put current to a wire, I showed you that it creates a magnetic field. So AC has everything required to get the, it's got what? Changes polarity. It's got motion. And if I have, this is what we go first. Every time I say it's motion, we call it go first. It's hard for AC, during an AC circuit, to ever see zero on the phone. Even though it's truly zero, it's hard to measure because it tries to induce motion in the airplane, right? That makes sense? So AC contactors, well, the problem is we need something to concentrate the magnetic field. Why do we need to concentrate the magnetic field? A chunk of metal. If I put a chunk of metal in an AC contactor, I'm going to induce a voltage into that metal. It's going to be a conductor. It's going to be a shorter conductor because it doesn't have a chunk of metal. Right? So what we need to do is we need to break that core up. So what we do is we split it into hundreds of little plates that are isolated from each other. So now the little currents that we call eddy currents, and each one of those little plates don't combine with the brothers and sisters down the line. So you can tell an AC electromagnet right off the bat, because it's going to have these laminated plates. So when I pass that little relay around, you turn it upside down, you see it's got about 5 or 6 little slots in there, right? And that's why we use laminated plates. So right off the bat, that's how you can tell an AC relay. It's going to have water. So lamination. Transformers, we're going to have lamination. I don't have a transformer. So I know this right here. I know that double break relay, I know it's AC. How do I know it? Because when I look at the armature or the plunger, it's got what? It's split into laminations. I know it's AC. DC is going to use a chunk of metal to concentrate the magnetic field. Because what's missing in DC? Relative motion. DC does no relative motion. So if I pick up a 2 relays, one of them, the armature is a big old chunk of metal, the other one's laminated, I know right off the bat the laminated runs off with AC. And if it says 120 volts, that's 120 volts AC. If you put it across 120 volts DC, it's going to burn up because it don't get the AC reaction, right? It don't get the, what we call the XBL. We know about the arcing. We know about AC tries to extinguish, DC don't. So this is what we call blowout coils. You'll see these on DC. The problem with AC is what we call self-extinguishing, which means it's going to try to extinguish an arc. And why is that? How much current flow do I have right here? How much current flow do I have right there? Where it crosses it? Huh? No, not relatively. Is zero. So if I have no current flow, so AC tries to extinguish itself. Sometimes we have problems, and AC tries because it goes to 60 cycles, means it goes to 0 120 times a second. So these lights here, by the way, these are turning off 120 times a second. But what does our eyes do? Yeah, so this is why most of the time when you take a picture with a camera under fluorescent lights, it turns out yellow because your camera's seeing the true lights in there. Our eyes are,
And this is why a lot of times you'll see somebody with a shirt on in the fluorescent lights, and they go out in the sunlight and it's either a brighter shade or something like that. DC does not step extinguish. So this DC, once it arcs and it creates that ozone, it's going to try to keep arcing. So one of the techniques they use in these big old things is they use what's called a blowout coil. So what happens on the blowout coil is the current through the motor runs through the coil, creates a magnetic field, then it comes up here and puts a magnetic field that moves across this thing. Now what happens is when the motor breaks, the current through the coil goes to zero, which causes the magnetic field to collapse, which causes this magnetic field to move through the arc. And it literally blows the arc out. We had a crane out here that still run off DC, and one of the motors wouldn't stop. And what happened is one of the wipers on the blowout coil had come loose and fell down. So it didn't extinguish the arc. So these are blowout coils. Y'all understand how they work? Yes, sir? So they literally use the magnetic field to do what? Blow out the arc. So, it's pretty neat. So this is just a relay panel that we used to have here at USD. USD used to come in and troubleshoot this thing. I don't know where it's at. But you can actually see the blowout coil. See right here? So actually the contactor goes in between. And when it breaks, it kills the current in the blowout coil, and the magnetic field collapses through the contacts. What you're going to see on new ones is you're going to see contactors and motor starters are going to have a size on. So I don't know what the size of ours is. We have a big one over here. The size tells you which horsepower motor you can run on the different motors. So notice if the voltage goes up, the horsepower goes. If the voltage goes up, the horsepower goes. If the voltage goes down, right? The horsepower goes down. And why is that? So this is a double zero on 200 volts. I could run 100. I could run a 1.5 horsepower motor on 230 volts. Or 460, I could run a 2 horsepower. 115, I could only run a 3/4 horsepower. 230, I could run. I don't know what the difference is. This is single phase. This is 3-phase. But it's all the double. Size 6, I could run a what? 150 horsepower motor on 200 volts. I could run a 200 horsepower on 230 volts. I could run a 400 horsepower on 230, and then these things are not rated for single phase. So why can we run a bigger horsepower motor on a higher voltage? What? That's current. So contacts are usually rated at a current, guys. So this is going to be on plate. They don't give you this information, and this would be a good chart. You can find this anywhere when you. I don't know if ours has got that. Oh yeah, ours does. Did I pass ours around? No, our motor starter with the heaters on it.
Yeah, right.
Where's it at? No, that's the manual.
Oh.
What size is this? The one that. What size motor can I run on that?
I gotta wait till So what do y'all think? Jason, what do you think? What size motor could we run on that one?
What's the horsepower? What's the voltage?
We're running on 208.
1.5 volt. 0.
0. So what could we run?
1.5.
Yeah, up to 1.5 horsepower motor. We're running three-phase, right? Well, this is pretty important to know, and it's gonna be on the label of the contactor. You're gonna have it on the control relay. You're gonna have it on the contactor. They don't put the current that you can push through those contacts back to the side. So you can start right here to figure out how much you can run, right? Everybody okay? This is not important, no. A magnetic motor starter is just a contactor with what?
No.
And you can look at ours. Ours is actually a lot where it's just, they take a contactor and they put it on a common plane and they mount the overload. That way they can sell it as a contactor or they can sell it as a motor. So on that right there, I think it's got a metal plate behind it. The overloads are mounted second, right? You know, a lot of them. So if we come over into this little one right here, I don't know what side of this is, but you notice the overload is that sell that as a lot. Contactor overload. We've got one over there on Amco line where they've actually mounted the overloads to the side. These are bimetallic strips. These are the ones that are dangerous. We have magnetic overload, bimetallic strips, trip indicator. Just about all these overloads have a trip indicator on it. It usually turns right. Okay. Standard overload relays may be used on very large starters by using current transformers, which specify reduction ratios. These are special overloads. Current transformers, by the way, is exactly what they do. What determines the amount of magnetic field you get out of it? So that, y'all know, I put current to a conductor to create magnetic field. What determines the strength of the magnetic field? I'm just talking about a single conductor. We can combine it, right? What determines the strength of the magnetic field? Electromagnetic. We talk about one thing. What is that curve? Oh, it's curve. You understand that? So I can measure the strength of the magnetic field, and I can use that to calculate the curve. Everybody says it's kind of on that, and some of y'all got that on that. Good measure the curve. Measure the strength of the magnetic field. They usually only work on AC. So it's fine. So it's what we call a current transformer. You have to have what? You have to have motion. So I can take that and run a wire through it, and we can use that to develop current transformer. Everybody got time on that? You don't measure current, you measure what? So what can you do? What can you do if your ammeter, you say, I learned this little trick too. You had one for the 21 ampere, this wire, the current was so low, it was like to that. What we did is we put it. So if you look at the one over there, you're going to read this cycle, or this three. And I've seen that trick a lot now. With the ammeter, they can't get a good measurement, or look through there, and then they just divide it out and overload it. So if you ever see out there in the industry, if you ever see the power lines, they come out. So they're working exactly like this cycle. That's only what everybody sees, right? Now there is an electronic device called a Hall effect, that measures DC. If you've got a clamp on amp meter that measures DC, then you're gonna pay a lot of money for that. Okay, so this is the table, size table. This is NEMA sizes, which, you have that chart in, y'all have that chart in your book? The NEMA sizes. So this is off the internet. Okay, so this is what we really need to get to. This is on that, tell you. How to calculate these heater overloads. So that's the sheet that I gave you. And on the front, the side on the right, left-hand side, it tells you what you do to calculate it. And then we look it up in the chart to figure out which one we're going to use. So, let's see the procedure. So first thing we need to do is what? Yeah, the full load current and service factor on motor nameplate. This only comes into play if it's got a service factor of 1. Then you're supposed to multiply your full load current by 0.9. Okay. If it's got a service factor of both plus 1, you use the full load current. And what are you going to do? Find the overload in the chart where the full load current falls within the range. Then we're going to multiply that by, we're going to increase it by 125%. Then we're going to divide the above step by 100. And if it comes up to be 1, then we're okay. If it comes up to be less than 1 or more than 1, then we'll do what? And we'll move up to the next overload. Do it on your phone. You already know this. Okay. So what would be oversized overload I'd use for this? So this has got a service factor above 1, right? So that leaves off 1 step. It's a what? What's the phase on it? What's the phase? 3 phase. So we use 3. We're going to use 3 units, right? Okay. 15.4 amps. Full load current. What size would I use? What size would I start with? I got that. That should be the easiest part, guys. Because all we do is what? Find it on the chart, right? So what was it? 15 point what? 15.4, which would be this guy right here. This is not a good example because what? This would be easy because you have no option on here. You could be 25.0. Is that right?
No, go down.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's 1 unit. So where are we at?
14.2 or 15.9.
Okay, right here. B what? B28. Is it gonna be good? Or do we need to go up? Did y'all write the full load current down? I'll know. I'll do it now. I'll bring the slides back up. $15.4, that's right. So is a B22, the 22, is it gonna be good or bad? So the one we chose, is it good or do we need to go up one? Says that I don't have a document. You said that low? Did you say you thought it was good? Oh, okay. Good, you said.
We got 115.
115, that's definitely good, right? No problem at all, right? Okay, guys. What about this guy? So it's got a service factor of, yeah. So we got no problem with that. And it's a, sorry, half an amp, right? 500 milliamps. Can you see the period? No, that's ambient temperature. Oops, crap. Here we go. Yeah, 5.4. Yeah, I don't know what that means. That's, I don't even see the service factor is 1.5. So I don't know what that is. 208, that's what we have. So yeah, 5.4, 208. So according to this chart, which overload will be probably. So which one we choose to start off with? Everybody okay there? Over here with, Kevin said. What'd you say, Kevin? The 8.2. Everybody okay there? And then check to see if you need to go up or down, or go up. We don't go down, we go up, right? Well, that's well within limits, right? We're looking for anything below 125 or 1.25. You okay? Yes, sir? One more, then we'll go to the house. Okay, so what would you use for this one? 163, I don't think this one, we're not gonna be able to use this one much. So, 460 volts, but it's 165 amps, 163 amps, and what's not on our chart? 163 amps is not on there.
No.
I think we have to do that. So what you do in your company, you go place, you find out if you company you can buy from, right? You just charge. Okay, the teacher is gonna be on the tip. We'll give you the same charge. Is that okay? You just calculate the overhead. I'll let y'all know, right, about what's going on. I can you can do work while we'll have the test. I think it's working down the road. I'll do a test. In class, we'll be or the class, we'll be in the robotics. We'll be next year.
107 or 111?
I don't know, Allison's in one, right?
She's in 107.
You're right. Well, I did the first class, and I was in the class.